All right, welcome to another episode of the Big J Little J Show. I am your host, J Man's Takes. With me, as always, is Connor O'Neill. I am the Little J. He is the Big J. Before we get started in this Duke Kansas preview and recap the week that was for Duke basketball, God forbid Duke football, let's talk about our sponsors. Legacy Safe. Legacy Safe is a website that is a secure cloud-based platform for individuals, couples, and families tailored for organizing personal account information, legal documents, assets, and more. It is designed to provide individuals with reassurance that their affairs will be managed effectively once they have passed. Legacy Safe is a website that gives you the platform to have all your affairs in order. And again, the website is legacysafe.info. It is legacysafe.info. And I'm already laughing for this next one because I know Connor's going to start nodding his head. Are you looking to buy or sell a home? Are you looking to buy or sell a home in North Carolina, whether you're moving across town, across the state? Jacob Mann with eXp Realty is here to help make your real estate journey smooth, strategic, and stress-free. From first-time buyers to seasoned investors, he knows North Carolina and how to get results. Contact with Jacob today at 336-266-9088 or on Instagram at the.real.estate.man with two N's. And let's make your next move the best one yet. I couldn't get through that because I knew Connor was going to start nodding his damn head like he always does, and I go through that ad read. But Connor, look, I saw you this weekend for the Duke-Indiana State game. We'll just quickly recap the week that was with Duke Army. It was 114-59, and Duke Indiana State 100-62. What did you see out of the Blue Devils this past week?
So I think the most interesting thing to talk about that maybe it's being talked about, but it's not the main talking point with this team, right? The main talking point is 4-0. Cam Boozer looks like a monster, and we just saw him score 35 points on 16 shots from the field. Who would you say Duke's second best player is right now?
That's a great question because I sit and ponder that. I've done the preview for Sleepers of Duke Kansas. I just posted my Duke Kansas scouting report. And long story, even longer, I don't know because Isaiah was that against Texas. Pat Gomba can show that in spurts, but then he kind of deals with foul trouble. And then then the next one is Dame Sarr, who's like he turns his defense in the offense, but like he's so raw offensively besides catch and shoot and not having a pick six. So it's like the Nick Mania had 9 points off the bench against Indiana State, but I don't think he's the second option. But he's in the mix of giving you a bucket here or there. So I would say Isaiah Evans.
Caleb Foster had 14 against Indiana State too.
Great point. Could you imagine the discourse that I would be so obnoxious about the Caleb Foster suck that I have. But yeah, I would default to Isaiah Evans just because he shows up in the big games. And so I think he'll show up big in the Kansas game.
I just filled out a Q&A for our Kansas site on the On3 website, and the first question was basic. The second question was about Cam Boozer. Then the third question was, who are the other guys other than Cam Boozer to think of? And the way I phrased it, because it's not like I'm being put on the spot when I'm answering questions in Twitter DMs. I would say you can look at Duke's 4 games and say Cam Boozer was the best player on the court for Duke in all 4 games. But then the second best player for Duke in all 4 games has been a different player. Like I thought Isaiah was the second best player against Texas. The Western Carolina game, was it Caden Boozer off the bench with 14 points and 7 rebounds and 5 assists? And yep. I believe, was it no turnovers or 1 turnover in that game?
I think it was 1 turnover.
Yeah. The Army game, I would say Dame Sarr. And then against Indiana State, I'd say Caleb Foster. And if you wanted to make the point, it was Nick Mania with 9 points, I think 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and drew like 6, 7, or 8 fouls, something like that. He was the good version of the whirling dervish that we saw in the preseason. So I kind of think that's the best thing this team has going for it right now is who the number one option is. Who the offense is flowing through. But you can do so many different things when everybody else is really close to being number 2, and everybody else can go off on any given night. And I say that to say, I'm taking November off, but I know you're not. I'm sure we have some listeners that are not. I would take Isaiah Evans over whatever point spread he has because I think he shows up, like you said, I think he shows up in the big games. I think a game in MSG, that's prime for a big Isaiah Evans game. He had 17 last year against Illinois when they were up there.
Yeah, and then Duke's already played in one NBA arena this year against Texas, and who was the one that showed up right away was Isaiah Evans. And so he loves the spotlight, whether it's an NBA arena or if just a big home game like he did against Auburn when he came on the scene. While you were talking there, Connor, I wanted to go back to last year with it early in the season when you're like, who's the number 2 option? Because last year it kind of was a question too, because like people wanted it to be Proctor. It was Flag, and then it's like, well, Proctor's coming back. It might be him. Then there was, briefly there was a Malawak discourse of like, hey, he could be a 7-foot rim runner, active around the rim, gives Duke some touches, buckets around the rim, and then Con Knippel. And then I just pulled up the stats for the Kentucky loss, and those 4 guys did score in double figures, but it was Malawak had 10 on 5 of 5, Proctor 12 on 4 of 9, and then Knippel had the 14 on 5 of 20 where – good God, Twitter that night was insane, which granted 5 of 20 is going to give you that type of discourse, but it's just funny now seeing what Knippel's doing with the Hornets, obviously, how great he's been. And then Flag had 26 on 19 shots. So I was just pulling that up to make the point. Like last year's discourse is like, who's the second option early on? Because we really didn't know either.
Yeah. Remember last year against Kentucky, Malawak had the cramping issues.
Yep.
So he had to come out of the game. I think Con was 0 in the second half.
Probably.
I know Duke didn't make a 3 in the second half of that game.
Yeah, because I'm saying the Spalding basketballs, but yeah, they did not. It was a tough night. And then even
and Sion missed the last 10 minutes. Not to rehash everything about a game that happened a year ago, but
yeah,
I just talked myself into remembering that.
Yeah, and then the Arizona game, again, Knippel was the second leading scorer in the 69-55 game. Flag at 24, which, this is basically like a Cam Boozer type of game right here. 24, the second leading scorer had 13, and then 3 guys had 8. And then you had 6 points of Sion James off the bench. So it's just like, this year is kind of the same thing of like, all right, Cam Boozer pencil in for 24, and then can Isaiah give him 13 or Gungba give him 13, and then everybody else sprinkle in 8 in a game where the offense isn't clicking. So, though we don't have a for sure answer, it's gonna work itself out. And we don't have an answer, Connor, for a team that scored 100 points in back-to-back games and have 3 straight games with 20 or more assists. So say all that to say, hey, this team is spreading the pill around and they're scoring efficiently as well.
Yeah, the ball's gonna move. I didn't know 3 straight with 20.
Look at that.
Makes me want to research when the last time that happened was. It might have been last year for all I know. Yeah, the ball moves. The ball is going to move when you have the connection that Duke has. Also, when you have 2 centers that arguably the best thing both of them do is pass the ball, at least offensively. The best thing I almost said Malik Murphy there.
You did.
The best thing Malik Brown does is swipe and get the ball away from the other team. I swear he thinks that an angel gains its wings every time he forces a jump ball. But
you were with me. You were with me in the locker room when I asked him where he got those active hands from. Like, did he grow up doing it, or did he learn it at Syracuse? And he said that he really learned it from the zone at Syracuse because he had to guard the wing, and so he just had active hands in that zone. And so that's a good tidbit because it shows how active he is when he's playing the perimeter, and it dates back to when he told me that, hey, at Syracuse, I had to learn to guard the wing, and so I had active hands.
Yeah, I think you had walked away when I asked him about playing Kansas, and he said Duke felt like they got punched in the mouth first last year against Kansas, and they wanted to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I made sure he also didn't want to get kicked in the head again against Kansas.
Yeah, luckily Hunter Dickinson is working at Enterprise or Field of 68 or something. But that's actually hilarious. That is the perfect illustration of who we are as the Big J Little J shows. I'm asking him about his hands, how active his hands are, where he gets it from. You ask him a legit question. He lost to this team last year. Like, what happened and what do you got to do differently? Which is a great question. And my brain's just like, nice hands. How'd you do it? And then I talked to Dame. I said this on it'll air tomorrow on Locked On with JJ. I told him, I told Dame, I was like, anybody ever tell you that like your shot kind of reminds me of Tatum? Like he's like a little hitch to it, like how Tatum's is, like his legs and stuff. And he's like, no. And I was like, that was the end of the conversation. I told JJ that I've never talk about a great question by a journalist in the locker room. Hey, anybody tell you your shot looks like Tatum? No. Thanks for your time, Dame. I hope you have a great day.
Just wondering if you were going to ask him how sure he was that he was going to finish his dunk, because I think that was the first breakaway dunk he's had since missing the one against Texas.
I held my breath on that, by the way, because I was like, please, God, I have all this Dame Sarr stock. I don't need to sell it right now. You're too active, and when he jumps off a trampoline. Like he has some crazy bounce, and I'm glad he got to flush it. He deserved it. And look, I did not pencil him being like the best 3-point shooter on the team. Him, statistically speaking, it's technically Jack Scott at 100%, but you got Darren Harris at 57%, and then Caleb Foster, Dame Sarr at 50%. And I'm going to get to Caleb in a second, but Dame Sarr being a catch and shoot guy, as efficient and effective as that's been, the one area that scares me with him is his free throw percentage at 53%. I think it's like 8 of 15. And that's worrisome. Whereas Caleb Foster's 50% from the line, but he's 2 of 4. He missed two free throws against Indiana State. All 4 of his free throws from this season were in that game. So there's a difference between 2 of 4 and 8 of 15. So I'm not worried about Caleb Foster's free throws, which I'll get it into. But Dame, being a catch and shoot guy, I didn't pencil that in to be a 50% clip 4 games in.
You know they're going to shoot. Yeah. I mean, more than there are, as I've said, there are certain tenets, there are certain patterns and principles that I think we can attach to John and in going on 4 years as Duke's coach. And one of them is there are going to be at least 4 guys on the court who can shoot 3-pointers. And with this year's team, it's probably 5, right?
Yeah.
Every one of the 9 rotation guys, they feel good about taking an open 3.
Gongba hasn't made one.
I don't know if you want Pat Gongba or Malik Brown shooting with a hand in their face, but if they see some drop, if they have a center sitting in the paint, they're taking a shot.
Yeah, Gongba's 0 for 7, but it's going to fall. Big fella, keep letting that fly, baby. Keep letting it fly. It looks good, and it's going to go in. Duke shooting 37.5% from 3, Connor, with Isaiah Evans shooting 34.6%. So he's bringing the team down, and he's obviously the streakiest shooter, or not the streakiest, the most efficient shooter. He's just shooting high difficulty threes some of the time, to where that 3-point percentage is at 34.6, where, he probably will get to 40 this season and could be north of 40. It's just the way he shoots off. The flare screens are automatic, but then there's some that he shoots some contested ones, which, he makes. That's why he's a microwave scorer, but he also is going to miss them because statistically speaking, they were just hard shots. But it's pretty crazy that Duke's shooting that well from 3 with Isaiah not shooting the team's average.
Yeah, we've talked. You live with some of the shot selection from Isaiah because you know that he's a tough shot maker.
Correct.
And we've been saying that for 11 months, going back to last year against Auburn.
Yeah.
When that first one goes in, it's worth it because you know that 2 and 3 are coming right behind it.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the stats too. With Malik Brown at 20. Caden is the one I want to talk about because Indiana State gave Duke a wrinkle, which I think Kansas might do a wrinkle. Darren Peterson, we'll get in the preview. Still don't know about him as we record. The line looks like he's out because I got the line at 7.5, Duke minus 7.5, and now it's at minus 10.5. And that was 2 hours ago. I got it at minus 7.5. So though it's not official, Vegas is telling you that he's not playing.
The quote from Self on Saturday was to the effect of, "We will not have him for the immediate future." It's like, you can define that so many different ways. I mean, immediate future might be he's not practicing on Sunday.
That's why I'm going like this. Go ahead and make the Grayson Allen jab. Come on, I'm ready for it.
Oh, I wasn't even going there. I mean, yeah, indefinite, 1 game.
That's what I was waiting.
I don't from every indication. I mean, hamstring tightness. I'm sure as much as Kansas wants to win a game against Duke, it's not worth putting a guy who's going to be a top 3 pick out there for a mid-November game. I mean, you need him to win Big 12 games. You need him to win games in January, February, and March. You don't need him to be at full strength on November 18th. We'd be having the same conversation if this was Cam Boozer that was on the shelf. It'd be much more important for him to get fully healthy and have the rest of the season to play. So,
yeah, that's going to be a big thing that we're going to discuss in the preview. Before we get there, I have another stat for you, Connor. I'm looking at the assists on the team because obviously Cam is first in assists at 17. Caden is second with 16, which is, that's really all in 3 games because he didn't do much in the Texas game. But he's been really well. And then Caleb with 12 is third on the team. So you're getting 28 assists between your 2 point guards right there. And the 28 assists combined to 10 turnovers, you live to that 3-to-1 ratio. I mean, that's good point guard play. And Caleb Foster showing that he's being aggressive. 9 points per game? 9 points per game on 50% from the field, 50 from 3, 3 assists a game, 4 rebounds. Like he's playing good basketball. Like what he's doing in his role is very good. He's not going to be like a top 3, top 4 scorer on the team. But if he can just solidify that role as a point guard that gives you just enough on offense, which he's doing more than that. He's above average. And then he is holding guys to like 22% from the field shooting. He's doing a great job at the starting point guard position. And Caden's doing a really good job. It's 2 different point guards playing the point guard position. And I'm excited for that. And it's showing with the Duke's efficiency. They're number 1 in KenPom because of their offense has been clicking and the defense has been clicking. And the one guy that has the least amount of assists on the team outside of Cam Sheffield's 1, who in Duke's rotation out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names out of the 9 guys, so include Darren Harris in this, who has the fewest assists on the team and with how many?
Okay, so with how many means it's not 0?
Correct, yes. Sheffield has 1, and this person has more than Sheffield.
Okay. Is it Dame?
Yep. Dame has 2. Dame has 8 steals and 2 assists. That is crazy.
He's not getting any assists when he's going to the basket on a fast break by himself.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's just very funny. I've never seen like Cam Boozer has 7 steals with 17 assists. So like they're just side by side, and it's just a very funny stat to see that. I mean, even Malik Brown has 4 steals and 5 assists. Like that's just crazy. Dame's a wing, and Duke scored 20+ assists in 3 straight games. And Dame is like a guard in the team, and he has 2 assists. So he's a ball stopper, baby. It just shows that he's a catch and shoot guy. He's not going to put it really on the floor to try and create. His handles aren't just there yet. But it's a very funny stat to look at.
I think it's also sometimes I hesitate to put too much stock in assists because you can be a ball mover and not get assists.
Yeah, you can be a connector like Shire likes to talk about guys being connectors. And there's definitely a lot of hockey assists that happen with this Duke team. Like Foster, for example, he only has 3 assists. And the Texas game, he had like a 0-0-0 stat line at halftime. And when I watched the film, he at least had 3 hockey assists. One was the first bucket of the game for Duke where he threaded the needle in the paint. I think it was to Malik Brown. Then he kicked it to Dame in the corner for 3. Not Malik. Somebody was. And then Dame hit the 3 in the corner. So it happens. But, yeah, this Duke team, look, they are definitely – it's hard to say definitely more ahead of schedule than last year's team because last year they played right away tough opponents, and they're still figuring it out. This one they kind of got like 4 warm-up games. Texas is a bubble team at best, you'd say. So it's just like
they're a weird team, and
yeah.
I do think it's easy to gloss over Texas having 2 centers that had not practiced going into that game.
Correct.
They've been banged up, and did Sean Miller say one of them had been sick? Maybe.
Yep.
But that matters, and it really matters when you face Duke's front court with a top 5 pick, a guy in Pat Gongba seems to raise his ceiling every good play that he has, and then Malik Brown is a senior forward who we know what Malik does. So
yeah, and we'll just go right into the preview, Connor, because there's no reason to talk anymore about the Indiana State game. Sorry to Big Country that just had a long night guarding Cam Boozer. He was just, I felt bad for him. But the Kansas preview, we'll preview this as Darren Peterson not playing. Like I said, the point spread's already went 3 points in the last 2.5 hours, so it to Duke's direction. So it just shows that Vegas has basically win that he's not going to play, and the indefinite is going to be more than Coach K's indefinite. So he's not going to play.
It's already been. He's missed 2 games.
Oh yeah, he has missed 2 games. Yeah, you're right. And so now Floyd Badunga is probably their go-to guy. 17 points a game, 8 rebounds a game. I think he's coming off a 21-point game performance. Connor, what can you tell me about your write-up that you have with the Kansas Jayhawks?
I can tell you that as of recording this, it's not done yet.
Oh, well, in the process, we're getting the behind the scenes. Sorry to throw a grenade at you right there. We're getting the behind the scenes thoughts of Connor right now.
I mean, the main thing that I made sure to write when I set up the file out of the template and everything was the injury report, because the Darren Peterson stuff is first and foremost.
Yeah.
No, more than anything, this Kansas team is a little bit of a weird look to me. They were so old last year. I mean, the Hunter Dickinson jokes aside, I mean, point guard's name was DeJuan Harris, I think.
Yeah.
You couldn't throw anything at him that he hadn't seen before. That's why one of the questions that I posed to the Kansas guys for the Q&A was whether this is kind of a weird roster for Bill Self. They took an early enrollee, Cole Rosario, who Duke actually flirted with when he was reclassing this past summer. He actually kind of looks like he might be their best 3-point shooter, unless you count their 6'11", 240-pound freshman throwing in 7 of 11 threes. I don't think Bryson Tiller's going to shoot 63% all year. Maybe he does, and if he does, then great. But Cole Rosario's hit 7 threes. Tiller's hit 7 threes. Nobody else that'll play has hit more than 4 this year. So you'll want to watch a reclass. It is interesting that Duke was kind of simultaneously talking to 2 reclass candidates in Sebastian Wilkins and Cole Rosario, and they obviously take Wilkins, and then he's going to redshirt this year. Cole Rosario, let's dial up his minutes here. He started every game and played over 20 minutes in every game.
Yeah.
So, Duke fans might be semi-familiar with Trey White. He's a
Illinois
wing.
guy. He played at Illinois last year.
So he's a 4 schools in 4 years guy. He was at USC. Then he was at Louisville for the last Kenny Payne year. Then he was Illinois last year. So Duke has seen him a little bit at 2 different stops. I liked his game when he was at Louisville. I thought he was kind of a diamond in the rough type, like lost on a just shit-tastic team, for lack of a better way to describe a Kenny Payne Louisville team. But I don't think he's been all that impressive at Kansas so far. I mean, he had 18. Okay, I stand a little corrected. He had 18 points against Princeton and 8 rebounds in their last game. But other than that, he had 9, 10, and 11 points.
He's fine. Like
and 10 of his 18 against Princeton came at the free throw line.
Yeah, he's a good role player. I mean, he was a decent role player at Illinois too. It's coming out very soon. I have it premiering on YouTube with my scouting report, so I can tell the verbal part of it, and then obviously everybody can go watch it because there's a lot more in depth about it. Where I just used a lot of their clips in the UNC game, but one you already touched on Cole Rosario. That is like my X factor for Kansas to be like if they want to pull off the upset with no Darren Peterson, I think Cole Rosario is the guy that can give them 15 plus points. He has he has the offensive skill set to do that. He had 16 a couple games ago, and he's so athletic and can finish above the rim, and he's a really good catch and shoot guy. He's like Grayson Allen-esque in terms of his game, where he's very comfortable catching and shooting, and then him flying around the rim. He's a lob threat for those guys. And so I really like Cole Rosario's game. He's not going to really pass much, doesn't even average 1 assist a game. It's like 0.8. The team in general, outside of Council, they don't pass, like they don't have assist rates. I had it right here in my notes, Connor, that where is it? Did I delete it? No, I didn't. Oh, I did. Connor, this is not good podcasting.
This is bad podcasting.
I had their assist totals, their total assists. They have 64 to 49 turnovers. And then Duke has, I think, 104 assists to like 46 turnovers. So I wish I still had that on my, maybe not 100 assists. That sounds way wrong now. But they had 80 plus. It was a drastic difference. Just bad podcasting that I deleted that right when. What an idiot, dude. What an idiot. I'm so mad at myself. But, yeah, Duke shares the rock a lot better than Kansas does. The ball doesn't stick. 83 assists to 42 turnovers. There you go. That the real stats. 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio as a team for Duke, whereas Kansas almost is 1-1. And so –
Control Z that thing.
Yeah, I know, dude. What happened was I copied and pasted the ad read from one to the other, and it eliminated my previous copy and paste of nice stat. So that's what happened. Flory Badunga, though, my key
legend, Flory Badunga.
Yeah, I know. See, you know me, I don't really pay attention to much recruiting as I like. I don't blame anybody that does it because I used to be like that, and then once the Zion team didn't make the Final Four, I was like, I'm never going to care about having the number 1 recruiting class ever again because this is just devastating. So I take your word for it. I remember seeing his name come up on my timeline here and there, but I really don't pay attention until they wear a Duke uniform. So he, though, is, I alluded to, as the number 1 guy with no Darren Peterson. And honestly, even if Darren Peterson was playing, my favorite matchup in this game, or my key matchup, was the front court against each other, because Duke, the one team that Duke's played that is a legit team, no offense to other ones, Texas, your starting five and your backup center fouled out with 5 minutes to go, over 5 minutes to go in the game. Flory Badunga is going to manhandle and be very physical down low with or without Darren Peterson, to where Gumba cannot afford to be in foul trouble. Then Malik Brown's going to come in, and he can, in a weird way, be in foul trouble because Duke needs him to be that aggressive. It's Gumba that cannot pick up 2 early ones. He did against Indiana State. Shire, you talked about it at post game. He trusted him not pick up his third, and he didn't in the first half, which is really good growth for Pat. But now you're playing the best center you're going to maybe playing this season with.
No.
Who am I missing? Sorry, I'm just talking out of my ass right now.
Yeah. Duke still has to play JT Toppin, Texas Tech.
Is he a center or is he a forward?
He's listed as a center. I would say –
I thought he was like a power forward. Like I'd view him and Cam Boozer as the matchup.
Yeah, I just honestly have not watched much of Texas Tech play. I know I would take Adai Mara over Flory Badunga. And that's Michigan later in February.
All right, fine. We'll say that. JT Toppin, I'm going to count as a power forward. But it's still a really good matchup for Pat Gumba because
see, now you got me thinking. Alex Condon.
Yeah, all right. You're right. All right, Connor, Jesus, I'm talking out of my ass here, trying to make a point about my keys to the game. The centers, I'm getting well actually, and rightfully so, because yes, Alex Condon is better than Flory Badunga, but Badunga is a different force. He's more of a physical presence to where Condon is going to be athletic and play. He can play in the perimeter and stuff. But Badunga is it's going to be a matchup problem for both sides, because in my film breakdown of Kansas, where UNC really exploited Kansas was in the ball screen action, something Duke loves to do. And Caleb Wilson, I don't have it in front of me. Caleb Wilson and Henry Vassar. I think Caleb Wilson was 9 of 11. Vassar was 8 of 12. Badunga had 0 blocks in the game, and he's supposed to be a rim protector. And the reason he wasn't there was because the second made field goal of the game for UNC was a Vassar catch and shoot three that made Badunga. He was sitting in the paint. When Vassar made that, it changed the whole defense game plan for Kansas. They started guarding the perimeter, and he was getting exposed in pick and roll offense, whether Vassar or Caleb Wilson was rolling free roller to the rim, or Seth Trimble was getting downhill, turning the corner on the ball screen. So that is where even if Darren Peterson was playing, my advantage goes to Duke because they're so good in that ball screen action against defenses.
It's not that I haven't been paying attention to what you've said, but I've just been sitting here thinking of every center Duke is going to play.
That's fine, Connor. And then you know what? Duke's gonna put them in a blender in a 2-man game and pick and roll. All right. I don't need to hear that shit.
You need to put some respect on Samet Igatolu's name.
I don't even know who he plays for.
That's SMU center. He's the big turkey. He's the big turkey.
You know what? I'm sorry that I don't know SMU center off the top of my head right now, and I'm talking about Flory Badunga. That is on me. That is just bad. That is just bad podcasting by me right now that I don't know the center to SMU. Does Duke play Miami? No, Duke does not play Miami.
Yeah, that's a shame because Ernest Uday looks like he has cement blocks on his feet.
Miami has this player, Connor, comes in off the bench. I don't know if you're aware of this. Of course, ESPN is the worst app, and God knows, dude. I type in Miami, and they have the football team, the Dolphins, the Heat, Inter Miami, Miami Marlins. They only have Miami basketball. So now I got to wait even longer. I got to go to this thumbnail and just type through because I don't know this guy's name, but he comes off the bench for them. Just give me 1 second. This is just ridiculous. Anyways, he at Luntis or something like that. I talked about him on Sleepers Media. The funniest stat line you'll see in college basketball is this guy from Miami. And I'm pulling him up. Give me a second. Bad podcasting. Altuntas. Salih Altuntas. He has 0 points on the season, Connor, in 8.7 minutes and 14 fouls.
I'm looking at his KenPom page.
He averages 9 minutes a game, and he averages 3.3 fouls. The last 3 games, he played 10 minutes, no points, 5 fouls. Stetson, 8 minutes, 5 fouls. Against Florida, 8 minutes, 4 fouls. The dude has 14 fouls in a total of 26 minutes in the last 3 games. This is my favorite player in college basketball. Speaking of just ACC big men, I love this guy. And they play Elon next. He's 6'10" freshman from Turkey, and he can't move his feet. I don't even know if Jay Lucas is like trying to slot a 6th guy out there, but this guy has 0 points on the season and 14 fouls. That is crazy.
Yeah, I watched a bit of Miami against Florida, and man, Ernest Uday is, like I said, he looks like he's moving his feet in quicksand, and he is their best front court player, which is, well, Malik Reneau is good. I guess I should say Ernest Uday is their best center. I would not think to throw Ernest Uday, even though Duke doesn't play Miami this year. I would not think to throw Ernest Uday in there above Flory Badunga.
Oh, I know. Jay Lucas, he's year one. They're already making good strides. I mean, they lost by 14 to Florida, and they were like 10-point underdogs. Where if it was last year, they would probably been 30-point underdogs because of the defense so bad. They're already a very good defensive team, and we don't need to talk about Miami much longer. But I wanted to just talk about the funniest player in college basketball. I might have to do a YouTube video on and just pull up this clip on Synergy. Let's see. It's still 10.5 on this matchup, Connor. And then I want to know, is there anybody else outside of Badunga or Rosario that you're looking at and you're like, hey, I guess you talked about Trey White, but is there anybody else?
I mean, just for the curiosity of it, I want to see Paul Mbaya if he plays. But it looks like he doesn't play very much, and he had 3 minutes at Carolina with no stats. He's the guy that, and he was going to be at NC State. I think if he didn't sign, he was right. locked into going to NC State.
Yeah.
He's a 7-footer from Congo, and then all of a sudden Kansas got him. I I don't remember all the specifics, and I don't want to say something out of turn, but basically, at some point, it looked like NC State was going to have him and Van Allen Lubin to play center. Then it was just Van Allen Lubin. So I'm curious. Like I said, I'm not expecting him to go out there and score 12 points and have 10 rebounds against Duke, but it's the curiosity of it of like, hey, this guy was almost going to see Duke this year in the ACC.
Yeah, that's a good pull. I forgot about that little drama late in the offseason. It was almost damn near the start of the season. It felt like that.
It was definitely over the summer. Like it was to the point where there might be a preview magazine or two out there that have Paul and Maya on the wrong team.
The guy I want to touch on too, Connor, is Melvin Council Jr. for Kansas. He's their leading assist guy at 6 assists, 7.6 assists a game. But Melvin Council, again, I say it in the film preview, he's 0% from 3, 0 of 9 from 3, 35% from the field. He was there's one clip that I posted. It's almost disrespectful. UNC went under like 3 straight ball screens in the same possession where he shot a contested floater because they just like Ben Simmons him almost. And he shot a couple threes in the game. Obviously did not go in because he's 0 of 9 from 3 this season. And he's a guy that's going to try and get downhill to either finish. He's fast as hell. He is fast as hell. But he's going to try and get to the rim, or then he's going to try drive and kick. And so Kansas isn't the best three-point shooting team. I know they're 36.5, but outside of Darren Peterson's 50, and then Rosario and Tiller are the two guys that you just can't leave. You got to know where they are at all times. Trey White's 30% from 3. But those are the two guys where when Council drives, and inevitably he will, you just got to know where Bryson Tiller is and Rosario, because Tiller was 4 of 7 from 3 against Carolina. He fouled out, but he's a guy that they're going to try and pick and pop action with him. And honestly, I love his game. 19 minutes a game, 9 points a game at 6'11", and he can shoot the hell out of it. I just basically him and Rosario are the glue guys to try and keep Kansas really into this. And I think they play a good game. It can happen, but honestly, I just don't see it. I think Duke, I don't want to sound cruel, but I think Duke, it's a rout. I think it's a rout. Duke's a 10.5-point favorite. I think Duke could possibly win closer to 20.
It'd be kind of funny if we were going into the Illinois game last year thinking this is going to be a really big test for Duke and really excited about the matchup up in New York late season and chance for the ACC to change a little bit of the narrative. And they blew out Illinois. We go into this one thinking that Duke is a heavy favorite and should win 15, 20 points going away. And this winds up being their first loss of the year or a close game down to the wire, that type of thing. I'd be here for the irony of that. But no, I wrote it. I'll write it in the preview on Devils Illustrated. Without Darren Peterson playing, it's just really hard to see Kansas finding enough for 40 minutes to, I don't want to say hang with Duke, but finding enough ways to keep Duke from their runs. I mean, the kill shot metric on evanmaya.com is a great tool. I think Duke is up to 10 or 11 kill shots this season. Kill shot is 10 plus to 0 run. And they had 3 of them in the first half against Indiana State.
And Indiana State basically gave them a kill shot to start the game.
Yeah. They're just – I thought last year's Duke team had great spurtability. And so far, early sample size, competition level certainly plays a factor here. But at this point, I would say this year's team has better spurtability. Like they get out and run on you to a faster pace. I think the one place that I'm willing to say this year's Duke team is definitely better than last year's Duke team is in the fast break offense. Again, their tempo is so great right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and they get so disruptive. I mean, again, it's Indiana State. Indiana State is not going to see any team with Duke's length in the Missouri Valley. But they're throwing passes. They're just like, well, that's picked off. That's Dame Sarr's 6'7" with a 6'10" or 7-foot wingspan, whatever he's got. I mean, throwing cross-court passes with him or Malik Brown up at the top of the key is not going to work out very well. So
yeah, Shire said they had over 30 pass deflections in that game too. So it's just they're long and they're active. And we'll wrap up here, Connor. I would say your keys to the game, but we've kind of already went over that. Can you give me a score prediction?
I'll
KenPom has a 76. Oh wait, 78-72, but obviously that's with Darren Peterson. So
I'll break my rule. I told the Kansas guy in the prediction thing. I think I said like 74-65.
Really, you have Kansas covering.
Covering the new spread, I guess, not covering the spread you've got.
Yeah, no, I had that 7.5, but
I don't know. Sometimes I throw these score predictions out there, and I'm just throwing shit against a wall.
Yeah, I know. If anything, you just told me to bet the under because you're thinking 74-65, over-under is 150.5.
I do think
I like the under. I do like the under too because go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought.
No, like Bill Self is not a dumbass. He knows that without Darren Peterson, he probably stands a better chance to win the game by slowing the pace down.
Yeah, and they're going to do the same thing Texas did in the first half, and that is basically let everybody else beat you except for Cam Boozer. And it worked for Texas in the first half, and then Duke made the adjustment at halftime he had 15 and 12 in the second half. And Bill Self, they love when the big fella puts the ball on the floor. We saw it actually last year against Duke, but I clipped it with the UNC game. They are so aggressive when a post player puts the ball on the floor. How many times last year did Cooper Flagg put it on the floor and it looked like it was off his leg because Kansas help guy just reached in and knocked it away? And they did it against Carolina. That's Bill Self's like memo, whatever it is
MO.
Yes, thank you. And MO, Jesus Christ. And that's what I think is going to happen, to where they're going to crowd the floor against Cam Boozer, to where Cam Boozer is going to have to facilitate, and other people are going to have to step up, like the Isaiah Evans of the world in Madison Square Garden, and hit the big shots. Because if Duke's going to lose a game, one of these non-conference games, it's due to the fact that the team has the talent on the court to eliminate Cam Boozer, and then they can let anybody else kind of beat them.
Yeah. Yep.
So I do think Duke rolls without being said. I will say like 84. I'm going to say 84-65 is where I'm going to go. I think Duke gets over 80. Kansas has yet to get over 80, and I don't think they get over 70 against Duke because they still have the best defense in the country. So final score prediction, 84-65 for me. Connor says 74-65, but then took it away. But we'll keep it on here for record, just in case it is it's just a rock fight. So, Connor, I appreciate it as always, man. And we'll talk next week. We'll recap Duke, Kansas, and then the Brotherhood run that happens Friday and Sunday.